When poking the cloth, poke it to the end. The length of the back adjustment thread end is about 3 cm. Note: the oblique cutting angle of embroidery needle should be poked in the direction of embroidery. The starting needle should not be picked too high, and the correct poking method should be attached to the embroidered cloth surface to poke the next one. Mistake demonstration 1. If the pick is too high to poke the next needle, the thread will not be tight. If this happens, you only need to pull the thread out from the end of the poking needle. Flying will cause the back coil to be too short and easy to come out. After pulling out the thread, try to pull the ruler with a poking needle to restore the embroidered cloth. Nai Shang Nai Yin can't poke hard, it will puncture the embroidered cloth and can't recover. The city moves many full embroidery centers, covers the outer frame, and retreats straight and firm. Move the embroidered cloth to the center of the embroidered stretch, cover the outer frame and tighten it as much as possible, and tighten the screws. Feel the whole embroidery stretch center, cover the rising sink D. The tail is odd. Put on the wool and pull it back to the surface. Thread the lead device through the tip of the pen and out the tail, put on the wool and pull it back. Thread bevel face forward. Thread poke cloth sequence. First poke the blue line area, and poke in the direction of the arrow according to the starting point of the line moving towards the circle. Thread poke cloth sequence. First poke the blue line round head point bevel tis forward. Thread bevel face forward. After inserting the needle, press and hold the back coil with your fingers when pulling out the needle to prevent the thread from being taken out. Note: the direction of the oblique angle of the poking needle should correspond to the direction of the poking cloth. When I found that the thread was loose, I could teach tight wool from selling stomach wine. When you find that the thread is too loose, you can tighten the wool properly from the back of the poking needle and poke the next one. Repeat the operation in turn to control the density and prevent the bottom cloth from leaking. Empty and dense factory to prevent cloth leakage. Pass more flat. Enable commercial wool atlas to smooth bravely. Suitable for elimination, pulling and gathering, so as to make the grass of super simple line graph smoother. After the cutting step is finished, cut the newly bred wool and tighten the coil properly to make the front wool pattern smoother. Tighten the coil properly to make the front shade. When the technology is firmly lowered, the coil makes the front. People. Blue. Tighter line selling electric stamp. Sweet thread loose, firmer and poked again. Loose wires are used to tighten the electric load. If the wool of the tree is loose, you can turn my needle to make the hand thread firmer and then poke it again. Small 8 2-stroke chest theft wireless loose can rotate a needle without poking, which makes wool tighter and more affordable. Tips: when the span between two needles is large, if the wool is loose, you can turn the poking needle to make the wool more compact and poke again. Royal to rotate to sell wool, tighter to buy and poke again. (183). Spawa, Spac, Spamio, Asifaro, Abo. Sequa. Oh, Nus. B8. King. Local details tutorial. The details are embroidered with plastic needles, which is easier to operate. Local group tutorial. After embroidery, cut the green wool career. After embroidery, cut the back wool and tie a knot to prevent it from coming out. Brave broken back and shoulder wool defense. Oh My Rhyme Kitchen time tickets with embroidered eyes. When embroidering eyes, pay attention to the fact that the eyeballs can't be too tight when threading, and the effect is better when you wait. You should wear your eyes for less than half.